Welcome to the Claws YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Strategic Frontlines, the Claws YouTube channel. We have today with us Brigadier Rakesh Bhatia, retired. He's a China expert and he also focuses on emerging technologies. We
Good
also
evening,
have
ma'am.
with us, good evening, and we also have Commodore Pujari, retired. He's the Chief Technical Advisor of C2C Advanced Systems. He was ADG Bessie and has worked in NTRO. I welcome both of you to this podcast.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
So, as we know that China has been dominating the AI and quantum landscape, they lead as far as the research papers are concerned, the patents, and will soon surpass West in generative AI. In defense also, China is rapidly integrating AI in defense, whether it is the autonomous systems or AI-driven intelligence and information operation. Their aim is to modernize their military through AI superiority. They want to build an intelligentized capabilities, doctrinal innovations, and robust infrastructure through a very smart integration of civil military fusion. So, my first set of questions I would like to ask is to Brigadier Bhatia. What, in your appreciation, is China's AI policy in defense? What is the latest in the autonomous system that is happening there? And if any other area you would like to highlight. And also, secondly, how is it going to use AI in cognitive warfare? If these two first you can highlight, then in the second round, we'll talk about the civil military fusion. Your views, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. First of all, there is no formal defense-related AI which has been formalized. However, since 2017 was the first time when Chinese spoke about new generation artificial intelligence development plan. So since 2017, they've been working towards it. And we know in China, whatever they do, they always look for a dual usage of that particular development. Now, whether it is infrastructure in Tibet or any innovation that is being done in civil, and we know that it's an authoritarian state, unlike in our country where there is a vast amount of firewall between the civil industry and what the defense industries do. Chinese do not have this sort of demarcation. So whatever is happening in civil, they are legally bound to share it with the military forces, the usage of that particular thing. So this lead is been taken by their universities, especially the Academy of Military Sciences, and our viewers will be amazed to see that directly or indirectly, there are 270 universities who are working on artificial intelligence usage directly or indirectly for military applications. So look at the quantum of research that is going on as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. Very quickly, so historically, I will also relate a very interesting aspect. Somewhere around when the Gulf War had taken place in 90s, Chinese suddenly realized that the PLA is far, far behind as far as technology is concerned. So they studied the Chinese war and they realized that the US Army is over-reliant on satellite, whether it is for their surveillance, ISR purposes or for communications. So instead of matching them weapon by weapon, that they create a weapon and I create an anti-weapon, that time it was decided that if we can somehow make their satellites ineffective, probably the edge that the US Army has will get over. So they went in for anti-satellite weapons. They demonstrated the anti-satellite weapon, and someday in detail there was a lot of manipulations, and the way again you spoken about cognitive warfare while displaying when their foreign secretary of US was meeting the Chinese minister. That is the time they carried out the destruction of a satellite and demonstrated that we have this capability. So that was a messaging that they did. So coming back to AI, so the dual usage is what they are looking at it, and it involves decision making, logistics, narratives. All three are, by using AI, they're making it faster and autonomous war. That we should not forget. So as there's a book called AI at War, in which Sam Tegrity is a very well-known author. I'm quoting him: China does not need match US capabilities weapon for weapon if it can outpace the US in fielding AI-enabled command and control and decision-making tools. So China is actually replacing the manpower with machine power at a scale using AI to enable faster than human decision. Primarily, what is AI? AI is you should have a situational awareness. With situational awareness from data that is available, from that you are able to arrive at a decision. Once you arrive at a decision, you release a weapon which is again AI enabled. It automatically takes a decision, goes and corrects its position, and goes and strikes it. So at all stages, and if there is a problem, then you have a predictive maintenance also through AI. So at every stage, you are primarily using AI. So by doing this, while the West is actually okay, I want to cover one more interesting thing. All this thing, they are calling it a intelligence side warfare. If our viewers have been keeping a tag, earlier they used to talk about informatized warfare. Now it is intelligence side. What is information and intelligence? In information, using the ISR, that is satellites and drones and human end and imagery, the information was being collected, but there was a human loop who was getting all this information, running it through, synthesizing it, analyzing it, and giving recommendation. Now this human being has been changed with a machine that is AI enabled. So the information remains. And one more big thing which is coming up. Earlier we were looking for gaps in picture. Now the AI is even looking at the gaps and automatically directing the sensors to collect a particular piece of information so as to complete the int picture which is available with it. So this is what briefly I will talk about how they are using AI in defense. Sir, over to you for comment before we go on to the next one, that is the cognitive comments, cognitive warfare.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. I would just like to ask you that
Yes,
would you
please.
like to comment on anything what Brigadier Bhatia had spoken about the Chinese thing? And also, I would like to ask you, how is India's AI vision in defense going? And what do you think is the long-term strategic initiative we need to take as far as India is concerned to make India a major power?
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I think Brigadier Bhatia has given a very comprehensive overview of what China has been doing. and I don't think I have to add anything to that because that is what is the factual status as of now. Coming to India, it is ironical that we were supposed to be the IT superpower, and we have missed the AI bus almost completely. Now, why has this happened, and what needs to be done is something that I would like to comment upon. First of all, as Brigadier Bhatia has brought out, China has been looking at AI as an strategic weapon, the entire domain. And for that, whatever needed to be done, they have done it. Long back, almost 5, 6 years back, I read an article where they were talking about data annotation factories in China. They were data annotation factories in remote villages, in garages, where people were just given the data in forms of articles, in form of photographs, and they were doing it not knowing too much. Even if you don't have computer knowledge, they were told to do it manually. Now, uh, Commodore Paul Raj had visited NTRO, where I was serving for some time, and he gave a very interesting anecdote about China. He says this was almost in 2018, and 7 years have passed from then on. He said that he had gone to visit Beijing. He was there for 2, 3 days, and one evening when he was slightly free, he just wanted to visit and stepped out of his hotel. There was some traffic, and he, by mistake, just put his foot forward, and all of a sudden, on the screen there on that street, his photograph came, and a message, Commodore Paul Raj, be careful. So that is the status of how much importance they have given to every aspect. I'm just given an aspect of data and its annotation and the complete data strategy. As compared to that, where are we? Now, if you look at India's strategic pronouncements over last decade, I'll not go before that, common theme, and all AI strategies of every country has those headings: have center of excellence, have a data governance strategy, so on and so forth. But the execution model is missing. And when you say that you have a grand strategy in place, but no execution, then I think you are playing with fire. Now, when I say execution model, have at least one center of excellence, and the data that is needed there, make defense services responsible for providing data. Establish that center of excellence inside a defense establishment, because we are very fearful about data compromise. So do it inside, but establish it. I am privy to a project which was Mandarin translation into English. Entire life cycle, there were 5 years a private company has struggled, and at the end of it, the result was that services were not happy, because obviously they never got the kind of data, neither they were able to put in the kind of resources there. It cannot be done piecemeal basis. So my recommendation is that strategies are all fine. There are Niti Aayog, AI for all. Then there are, from time to time, they keep coming. DRDO has come up with something regarding military strategy. We need to put it in place through an execution model. Now, I'll also, I'm sorry, I'm going into a parallel domain, but look at the way were established in this country. Look at the way metro project of Delhi became a model for whole of India. So there is learning from those models. Similarly, at that level, we need to tackle AI. That means establish in mission mode a center of excellence, preferably under an defense service, maybe Army, Navy, or Air Force, where data is providing data, annotating data is responsibility of respective services, and then you put in all your power in running that center of excellence. Now, once that center of excellence has delivered something worthwhile, say for example, the object detection from satellite imagery or change detection from satellite imagery. That's the and during Ops Sindoor, you can imagine what kind of value that facility will bring to the services. So do that there one project, then it there is something known as group learning. So one part group learning means that I'm giving a different perspective to it, which is again not my theory. It is a proven theory that in a group select a subgroup, train them. That means center of excellence, and rest of the group then follow. That's all I would like to submit as far as India's
Okay, sir.
execution of AI strategy is concerned.
I think you have given a lot of points to think about, and I'm sure we'll be doing those things because sometimes in democracy the things happen at its own pace. But I'm sure we have done a lot as far as AI is concerned, and even in defense forces, people are working at it, and I think it's a process, so it'll take time. But I'm sure we are at it. But here, I would like to bring in. Brigadier Bhatia, and you were initially talking about China's AI and cognitive warfare. So, would you like to highlight that issue? And also, I would also like to say that you were talking about the civil-military fusion also. So, what I feel is, as far as the civil-military fusion is concerned, they have adopted a multi-domain approach. And what they are trying to do is they are trying to unify the national system where resources are mutually reinforcing.
Correct.
And this dual use technology development is it's a top down coordinated approach, and that is why it is helping. So probably we also need to do something of that sort, what Commodore Pujari was also mentioning. So your thoughts on those two issues?
Yeah, I just take on to this military civil fusion, sir. Primarily, what we are looking at, and Commodore Pujari had also mentioned, so I will combine the two things. We have the talent, we have the data, but the problem is that if this civil military fusion is missing, we are so scared of sharing the data with our own countrymen. You know, if you have the talent, if you don't have that, you don't give them the data, you will never get AI. What is AI? Primarily, it's like a child's mind being developed. A child looks around, collects information. Thereafter, what is right, what is wrong, most of it are told to him by his parents, by his peers. So there is a neural connection that is automatically made, and that is how exactly the military AI also works. There is certain machine learning which it does. Primarily, what is neural connection? There is a condition and there is a consequence. So you have to feed to the machine. If a particular thing happens, then the consequences are this. So you need lots of data. Getting back to how China is doing it. China has studied American forces for last 30 years. As of now, what information I got, this study was over in 2021. 30 years, how did they react to a particular situation? And what did they do? What were the reasons for their successes and what were the reasons for their failures? Now, all this thing has been fed to the machine and it has been told to learn. And thereafter, look at that. What were the success figures and how we can disrupt those USP which it had, like I mentioned about the satellite. Now they have realized that it is the AI. Look at how they are fielding new systems in the market. DeepSeek. Now, DeepSeek in last January, it came out and everybody is looking at DeepSeek. even the foreign what do you call big media industry houses are using DeepSeek because it is so cheap. More importantly, firstly, it is cheap. Secondly, it doesn't require that much of hardware, which a Western developed LLM models need. So what have you done? You have given a DeepSeek to number of countries, especially in Africa, and now this is a classic means of spreading your propaganda. Because now the biases can be introduced into the AI-enabled large language model and make the perception of that person accordingly. How? You give today a DeepSeek, you give a question to DeepSeek model asking them about Xinjiang or asking about Taiwan. It doesn't give you the answer. It says that it is out of the scope. So similarly, after some time, after they establish a sort of hold over these countries when they do not have any other alternative, so they start pushing in this because every 3 months you need some sort of updates. So very subtle way of introducing these particular things into the system. Now this is what I talk about, the cognitive war. So partially we have spoken about use of AI to control the terrain, if I may use the word. Terrain means it can be air, it can be sea, it can be land, and now you are targeting the thoughts. You scrap social media, detect the psychological weaknesses, and then deploy disinformation. First, your disinformation has to base on what the other person is saying or feeling or thinking. Galwan. Now, how they are using the diaspora? Galwan incident. They were very quick. They had their own WeChat and TikTok, and so they flooded that. The Chinese diaspora who's staying in Western countries picked it up. And in turn, the Western media, the Chinese diaspora gave it to Western media, and we were slow. We didn't learn it. And Synindu is a classic case where we have lost the narrative war. So now in modern war, it is not the truth. It is how viral you can make a particular incident or particular thought dictate the minds of another person. Now, in our case, we are not able to engineer the narratives because there is no AI to see that a particular video or a particular information is true or false. We need to do it in seconds. So, and the perception is not only during the war. You have to prepare the minds of your adversary as well as the world before you go in, before you take an action. So it is before, during, and after, and it is matter of time. I think it is generally attributed to Churchill. He says that by the time truth wears its shoes, the lie goes around the world twice. और सच ने तो जूते भी नहीं पहने होते. So and then now, initially the job is to put a seed or just put something in somebody's mind. Now, if you are late, तो पहले तो आपने उसको न्यूट्रल में लाना है कि you have to remove that thought that has been planted, and then you have to bring him to his own side. And today, nobody has that much attention. He forms an opinion, he goes away with that.
It becomes that much more difficult.
It becomes that much more difficult. And where are you lost? Firstly, you may have the data, but you do not have the wherewithal to process it so fast.
Yes.
And like I said, you have to move from data to decision in matter of seconds. It is a war of seconds. If he puts it before you can even think of it, you've lost it. Yes. So this is what my thoughts on cognitive warfare were.
Very rightly you pointed out today, because today what is matters is the narrative building, how you build your narrative, and for that you rightly stated what are the essentials, what are required for to do that. Let me bring in Commodore Pujari here. What do you feel are the critical technologies which we require? And we know that India's Atmanirbhar Bharat has done a lot of initiative, whether it is IDEX or Aditi schemes or the defense corridors which we are making, whether it is in UP or Tamil Nadu. A lot has been done to get the private sector participation. So, what would be your advice to startups and MSMEs who are desirous to make big in AI or ML techs based projects? So, any suggestions you want to give in that, please?
Yes, ma'am, you are absolutely right. A lot of initiatives in terms of IDEX, which are available to the industry, have been made in recent past. And IDEX has also come up with a scheme which is called SOMOTO or Open Challenge Proposals, which gives industries an opportunity to project their own achievements, and then IDEX will fund it as per their governing rules. Now, as far as most critical technologies, AIML as well as conventional, which operational Sindoor has served to emphasize, are first of all, we need with all three services a much more credible C4I SR structure. That infrastructure is not in place, and a lot of work is required to be done. Once you have a comprehensive C4ISR infrastructure in place, the AIML technologies that are required urgently are: one is video and audio analytics, because as Brig Bhatia has rightly suggested, that you need to make decisions in seconds. It is war of seconds. There is no two ways about it. So whatever satellite information you get, whatever drone information you get, you need to analyze it as fast as you can do it. So the entire thing boils down to improving the efficacy of your OODA loop, which is observe, orient, decide, and act. So unless until you are within inside the OODA loop of enemy, and that only AI can ensure, and that too the world-class solutions there. So video and audio analytics is one thing which we need urgently. Then there are emerging technologies, for example, the cognitive digital twins for enhanced simulation. Brigade Bhatia just mentioned about it. Then you have AI augmented decision support and human machine collaboration. That is another thing which is emerging very fast, which enhances the situational awareness capabilities multifold. Then, obviously, you are talking about the large language models for other applications, which is intelligence gathering and analyzing the archival data to give you more insights about what has happened in between wars or in between conflicts, and how fast you can process that data. So there, text analytics also comes into picture.
So here
As
I
far
would
as
just like
yes,
to ask you. You have highlighted few of them, but what do you want our private sector? What is your
yes,
advice to them?
I was
Because
coming to that. I was coming to
they
that.
are coming in a big way as far as AI
Yes,
is concerned. They are pulling
yes.
in so much money. So what is your advice to them?
Yes, my advice to because I am also right now belonging to a private industry, so my advice is to self also. The most important aspect is that do not expect your models to work wonders in the lab unless until you meet real data. So demand it. Demand it and go to every door to say that give me the real data, and that should be the part of your project planning. Don't waste your time in fine tuning a model on open source data and then think that it will work. It doesn't work that. So data strategy, project by project. I'm not talking about data strategy at an apex level, which is required, and for that, lot of policies are there in place. And you should be prepared to offer a solution to the services who are very, very protective about their data, rightly so. You should be able to prepare, have that bandwidth in terms of resources, time, and money to place your team inside the organization and say that, sir, we are coming there, give me your data there. And that becomes very easy because then the physical security is in place and there is no fear of data being lost that way. So get your data strategy right will be my first advice. Second is, while data models are, sorry, the AI/ML models are cool, and people think that by just retraining them on some kind of data, things will work. It doesn't work that simply. So collaborate with foreign companies. Some of them are willing to do it, especially with private sector. Get their solutions and then tweak them for your own data. So Government of India permits you to get some 49% of foreign technologies, and that is sufficient to take some core model. Don't worry in the first cut itself for TOT. You can just go for some kind of teaming agreement and then do it. Once the thing starts working, you will know that it is in operation. You will start learning, and you are intelligent enough to tweak a different model on your own. That means you don't need the model innards of their model so much after you have got certain amount of exposure. So
Okay.
these two aspects,
To
I think, will be very, very crucial.
Yeah, that's very nice. I think for young entrepreneurs who are coming to look into these issues. I would like to bring in Brigadier Bhatia here. Let's move on to another aspect where China is progressing very fast, and it is going to make a major impact in future, and that is quantum. And China boasts that it has the world's largest quantum communication networks. And recently also it unveiled its Zukonzi, I'm not very sure about the pronunciation, 3.0 prototype superconducting quantum computer. So my question to you is, how is China doing in terms of quantum cryptography, QKD, and quantum sensing? If you can just highlight a little bit about that.
Okay. As far as before I start, I very, very briefly, I'm not a very technical guy, but I will try and put it in a simple language. What primarily is quantum? Quantum is when information or is broken into small little parts. Now, we are all aware when we were young, we used to say that computers operate in zeros and ones and a combination of zeros and ones, and they are communicated from one process to another process. So in this particular case, it is the cryptography means what? It is for transmission of data from one place to another. It is encrypted at one place and decrypted at the destination. Now, when these photons in packets, one particular piece of information is broken into number of packets, and each packet is actually taking a different route, and they are random. They are not going in a sequence the way they were spoken. Like the way I am speaking, these all words have been broken into very small little photons. Firstly, randomly it is going. The encryption key is also online at that particular moment only generated, and the destination is being told about this key, which is changing at a very fast pace. And even if somebody has hacked it, somebody has managed to get into the thing, there will be a disturbance in the flow of photons, so both sides will know that somebody is trying to hack the system. So primarily, very layman's term, as I understood, this is what the what you call quantum cryptography means. So, as far as China is concerned, in 2016, they launched a satellite called Mikus, which was the first one where the information was sent from one continent to another via the satellite using quantum cryptography. So it not only transmitted the information, it was able to transmit the key, because the most important thing is that instantly how a particular packet or a combination of packets has been encrypted, discrete, that key also has to reach the destination almost simultaneously, and that is how it is quickly deciphered that what has actually moved. So, start of the opinion, today China has already overtaken USA as far as quantum computing and quantum cryptography is concerned. So, another 4,600 quantum this thing line is, it's called the quantum key distribution between Beijing and Shanghai is already working. Now there is another aspect of quantum which is quantum sensing. Now this is disturbing for everybody, especially for India. Chinese labs are testing sensors which are capable of detecting stealth aircraft. Pay attention to what I'm saying: stealth aircraft, underwater submarines, and jamming resistant navigation. So they're enabling their systems. Now, on one side, the world, most of the armies are going for stealth aircraft, and here Chinese have already successfully tested quantum sensing, wherein they will be able to detect and the stealth aircrafts also, and even the submarines, not on acoustics, on magnetometers. So, if like again quoting from AI at War, he says that if quantum sensing matures, no stealth platform can remain hidden. AI just makes the target instantaneous. Now you see, here quantum computing coupled with capabilities of AI, it makes a deadly combination.
Yes.
It passes through the stealth, tells the autonomous weapon that this is the location, this is the lat and long, and this is the time, this is the start time, this is the end time. So AI computes, by this time he'll be at so and so location, and instantly, autonomously, a weapon is released to destroy that. Now this is a major red flag. So that means we cannot rely on stealth and electronic warfare to balance China's advantage.
Yes.
So this is what I wanted to bring out about quantum. Over to you, ma'am.
Very rightly you pointed out, because the magnetometers and the gyrometers, what they are coming, it will impact the second strike capabilities also, because underwater, if you can know where your submarines are, that will be, though it is very far off, but still it will impact the deterrence. As far as India is concerned, I think we are also started the quantum journey, because in April 2023 we also had formed a national quantum mission, where we had spent about nearly rupees 6,000 crores, where we are going to spend this money in creating 4 thematic hubs have been created, whether it is quantum computing or quantum communication or sensing or material and diverse devices. And all the IITs have been taken into consideration, and they have been given one of these hubs, which is a very focused approach of taking quantum. And I think the aim is basically to have intermediate scale quantum computers to achieve satellite based secure quantum communication, which you were talking about, which China has already done. And I think create a multi node quantum network. And we have started having small achievements also in this, because I think recently we launched a 25 qubit conducting quantum computers. So the journey has started. It is heartening to know. And a Quantum Valley Tech Park is also being created in Amravati. So a lot of startups are also joining this. So before we take further questions from our viewers, Commodore Pujari, would you like to add on, or should we start with the questions?
Ma'am, I think you can start the question answer sessions. That will be better.
If we have time, I wanted to just share one autonomous weapon. A very important development has taken place. If it is okay with you,
please go ahead quickly. We can go through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, this drone warfare and drone storm. I read. I'll not explain it in detail, but I will just give one incident. In September 2024, not many months ago, the Chinese state media. This was a report in South China Morning Post. They reported that during a air defense exercise, PLA ground forces 77 group army, or combined corps as it is called today. Now, why 77 is important is this is the corps which has a area of responsibility towards India. This is in Tibet, so it's in the Western Theater Command, right? So 77 group army. There was about 12 drone swarms which were launched from a AI-enabled truck which was passed. Think about spider web, what happened in Russia also. So and this is September 24, before spider web had taken place. And 77 combined corps against whom this drone swarm had gone, they were told to intercept it. Initially, when they intercepted, one of the reports says that they could actually kill just about 20 to 25%. Then they said, okay, let's have an AI-enabled system to intercept this drone. But they were so overwhelmed that even with the AI-enabled, the success rate was just 40% of the interception. Now, this is a worrying thing for us. And
Absolutely.
again, going by the cognitive warfare. Now, this is by now, even South China Morning Post has not given an authoritative this thing that any authority has said. There's no report in the Chinese media. Now, this could well be a part of cognitive warfare. Whether they have done it or not, we don't know. But just by publishing it, we are talking about it on a podcast.
Absolutely, and Chinese are expert in that perception management.
So I thought I will just combine the capabilities, the cognitive, and how AI is being used by giving this example.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all learning things. So the more we know about it, and the more we can see how these things can be adopted in our environment. So it's always good to know these kind of things. So we'll start with the question. The first question.
Yes.
It's by Mr. Akash Thadani. He's our regular viewer. And he asked, Operation Synindu demonstrated an elevated level of AI application in a weapon platform and systems. More recently, further refinement was displayed in the eastern sector. Your views? Any one of you can take.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, yes, I agree. In Ops Sindoor, we demonstrated it was a good display. But pay attention. Whatever was most successful was the one which was indigenous. No. Problem is, we cannot borrow ideas like what Commodore Pujari had said. We cannot borrow ideas. We cannot borrow it from the foreign countries because their codes and their algorithms are already known. Second, this thing is, if you want to go in for your own AI system, AI system needs an ecosystem. Now, even if somebody is ready to give you an AI, nobody has tested that AI model or an autonomous weapon in terrain like Himalayas because nobody has that terrain. Plus, don't forget that they have the codes, and this is the warfare which is fought on codes. So we did demonstrate. So it is all the more reason that post of Sindoor, our own defense industry and our innovation should go all out. And we should not sit on laurels of what we did in Op Sindoor. It's a matter of time before they come to know how exactly our weapons have functioned. Because today, again, it will be an AI-enabled thing. That, okay, end product bata diya, start point bata diya, bola, find out the algo which was used. So AI itself will give the algo which has been used. So we have to be very careful. And what Commodore Pujari, again, I will quote. If we are depending on foreign, we are on clutches. Use
Absolutely.
the foreign technology as a bridge to reach that particular area, ultimately where you want to reach. And thereafter destroy this bridge. Then you be independent, your own innovation, your own weapons, your own systems.
Absolutely.
So this is what I wanted to convey.
Commodore Pujari, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I think Brigadier Bhatia has already stated what was required to be stated. There are lessons to be learned, and the success stories as well as what we could not achieve, both of them have to be examined case by case so that we can build upon it.
Okay. Next question we'll take.
Build upon it, yeah.
Yes. Next is by by Shritik Kothari. Yes. It's common knowledge that Chinese steal IP regulated via espionage and also reverse engineering. Very true. Everything without caring about IP rights. Yet the file, the most patents in the world, they have the most patents here. What's the paradox? Correct. He's rightly pointing it out.
I think Brigadier Bhatia should answer this because he is more
No, I'll tell you.
Reverse
No, it is
engineering,
right.
we know all
See, they used. There is no doubt after Tiananmen Square and prior to that also there were a lot of restrictions on them. So what did they do? Let's look at their strategy. It was, what did they do? They started sending their own people to study there. They carried the IPs. They carried the fine. The Americans came to know about it. So then what did they do? They started buying, because by that time economically they had come up. So they started buying factories and places of manufacturers. वहाँ dual usage के लिए they got it back. Wherever they got a chance, they did the reverse engineering. By doing this, they have reached a state today that why Trump is worried about this? Why is he launching the trade war with China? Is primarily because he says that you've stolen the technology from us and now you are dictating. So the very problem of Trump is this. No, but AI, look at DeepSeek. If you see this model of large language model, it was a fantastic display of what they have demonstrated. And now they're talking about artificial general intelligence. And whereas in US they think that it's about 5 years, the maker, a youngster who's created DeepSeek, is saying that in 2 years I will give artificial general intelligence. Now, what is artificial general intelligence? Artificial general intelligence says that machine itself will start writing the codes.
Yes.
You have to give only the end state, so that there is no human being involved. So he's promising that in 2 years I will create that. So that is why the patents are being filed. There is hard work also going on. So they have used the clutches to reach a particular level, and now they have taken off.
Yes, concomitantly they are trying to strengthen their hold on that by using the patent. Very true, and it is nurturing the minds and giving them that kind of an environment where you can grow. Because the Chinese have adopted from the Americans what they used to do. Now they are calling scientists from all over the world to come to China and do experiments.
Just one sec, I'll give a very lame example. हम लोग छोटे थे तो tuitions was considered as not a good thing, but once in a while छुप वुप के tuition पढ़ लेते थे and suddenly we used to become bright. So it is something like that. They have reached a particular level, and thereafter now they are filing the maximum patents.
Yes. No, and they are spending a lot on R&D. I mean, that is
Yeah,
one thing which you have to admire.
and
That
let's
uh,
not forget that it's an authoritarian state. हुक्म मिलता
it's
है तो
easier for
करते
them.
हैं.
Yes,
So it is easier for them.
absolutely. It's easier for them. Next question.
Uh,
Uh, China's
AI
AI-based digital dominance is questionable. For instance, Bharat already has the digital e-rupee and UPI. What do the Chinese show for their efforts beyond social apps? Yes. Because there are certain section which thinks that China hypes it a lot. Maybe in actuality it may not be there, but it has that narrative building and hyping things. So, your views?
No, again, my view on this is, these are two very, very different domains. When we're talking about a digital dominance and e-rupee and UPI, it's very different from, see, what China is doing is a big innovation. And whatever, if any of our viewers has not used DeepSeek, you should see DeepSeek. It is a wonderful offline, more importantly, offline open source code. If you also feel that there is something which you can tweak, you can write the code in DeepSeek. So it is a collective effort. And yes, now Synindu, lot of writing was there that it is a fight between the Chinese technology versus the European technology, because as Indians we didn't have much of indigenous thing, so we have defeated them. Don't forget the Chinese will overcome that problem also. They look for an opportunity in failure also, and this is what has made them, where they are today. So they don't sit on their laurels, they learn. And actually Gemini, OpenAI, Grok, these are those Western type of this thing, and Quinn is a Chinese. So all this, there is a competition, but today there is no doubt that China is matching them in capabilities, and the way they are going ahead, they will win, because primarily because there are no ethical controls. There are no
Yes.
if government tells them to do it in democracy, there are a lot of problems.
Problems, yes. The progress
Yeah,
is little slower compared to
Slow.
their kind of government. It's not due to
ma'am,
lack
here
of
I would
quality.
like to add a cautionary note, as has already been stated. Let's not think that China has not gone for UPI and then they are not
Yeah.
capable of doing it. That may be a policy decision. But simple example of Quen or any other large language model in the form in the field of generative AI is an indication that they are at par with the US. I will not call it Western world, but with US. So the achievement there is phenomenal. And look at how we have squandered two excellent capabilities that we had. One was IT, so-called IT superpower,
Yeah.
and second was command over English language. Both of them have not proved to be any impediment for China to make progress. So there are enough lessons to be learned from them. Okay. And the UPI is not an example that we can say that they don't have anything with them and they are just on narratives. That
Uh,
will be a great
one,
mistake.
one last question we'll take. That is by Raiku. He's asked India should go for AI hardware, systems, chips, and ancillary parts of parallel processing. Indian IT missed the train for making AI models as big as Gemini, OpenAI, and what we were talking about. Your views. Both of you can comment one by one.
Yes, we've actually not paid attention. In fact, chip making has been a problem. But now again we are waking up to it, and there's a big push being given to semiconductors, and even China has a problem. But China के पास एक leverage भी है. 60% of the rare earth material that is required to create the semiconductors are with China. So, see, again, I started the podcast with this, that they do everything with a lot of vision. They knew that where do I hold the West, they should not run away with the narrative. Rare earth, why did they go in for rare earth in such a big way? Because they knew at some stage that this is what, your smartphones and your semiconductors and everything is depending on rare earth, which is controlled by them. So, but yes, we are now waking up with Taiwan, we have tied up. But again, it is our own capability only which will make us superpower that we are thinking of being by 2047 or thing. And Chinese want to achieve dominance by 2030, which is just around the corner.
Yes.
And there are issues, but then great nations do anticipate that this is likely going to be the problem, and what leverage I can have in my hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Today or tomorrow, US will and Trump will fall in line, because interdependencies China has created so much that no country in the world can stay without China as in foreseeable future. So that's the type of dependency is created. This is what I want to say.
And I would just like to ask, when can we see our own AI model like the Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever you call it?
As of now, a lot of work is going on, but ma'am, it needs a lot of data, and more than data, it needs a lot of training. You have to build scenarios, you have to create situations, and problem again is the AI has to be based on our value system, our culture, our terrain, which nobody will. Firstly, they don't know. If we are making, I'll make it specifically for military purposes, because that's probably the most difficult. Business, finance, predictive maintenance, we've not spoken about. There is a lot of commonalities. But when we're talking about the military, nobody will give you on the plate the analysis of military, how they are doing it. Now, here we have our own doctrines. We have own lesson learned from the previous wars. We have terrain which is ranging from Himalayas to jungles to deserts. We have our fights of jungle insurgency to high altitude warfare to trench war. I mean, all sorts of warfares are there. So everything has to be taken into consideration and then create an AI. So I think as of now, it's difficult to put your finger, but yes, a lot of work is happening. In some ways, I am also associated with it, and that's how I've studied about the AI.
Commodore Pujari,
I won't be able to say how much.
Okay,
Ma'am, I'm most encouraged
words?
by the hardware part of it, because that seems because the government has put a lot of focus onto it, and that looks like something which we can realize in foreseeable future. As far as generative AI models are concerned, without mission going into a mission mode, I don't think it is possible just to leave it to IITs or private industry. Some consolidated collaborative work has to be done if we are interested in going into that domain, and that will be a measure of success that you have arrived on the AI scene.
And I'm sure that we also must be thinking on those lines, and it is a matter of time. And because the way the progress is going on, the scientific progress is going on, and there has been a vision, we want to be there by 2047. So the work has already started. So it's just a matter of time when we reach there. So thank you so much, Commodore Pujari and Brigadier Rakesh Bhatia, for this podcast. And I'm sure so many things have come to light, and it's we need to ponder about all those things. And I would also like to thank my viewers for joining today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And good night. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.